I'm 19 and my parents are in their 50s. For as long as I can remember, I've been allergic to things like dairy, wheat, flour, gluten, and legumes. Since I was a young child, my parents have completely kept all of them out of the house. While other kids ate breakfast cereals, I ate fish and assorted pickled vegetables for breakfast. While other kids had Lunchables, I had grilled chicken or fish with, again, assorted vegetables. While other kids ate birthday cake at a birthday party, I had an apple. I never questioned this until a couple months ago. I was at my aunt's house for my birthday party and she made brownies for everyone. For me, she took great steps to make them with almond flour and avoided all my allergies. I started eating them and thought little of it until my aunt suddenly looked at me and, in a panicked way, asked me which plate I took the brownies from. I pointed from the one where I got my brownies and she immediately stood up and told me we had to go get my EpiPen. She raced to ask my mom for it and I sat there scared out of my mind because I had never mistakenly eaten flour before. I noticed my mother calmed her down and then she said that we don't have to worry because she had switched to plates of brownies and after all I had eaten the ones made with almond flour. I found this incredibly odd because really, why would she swap the plates? That doesn't even make sense, but for the time being, I let the issue rest. However, it didn't sit well with me for about a week and I finally went to get an allergy test. The doctor started with a skin prick test and lo and behold, I didn't react to any of the above substances. Then he ordered a blood test and when the results came in, they said that I had absolutely no intolerance to any of the foods that I'm supposed to be allergic to. I was furious and called my mother. She eventually admitted that she lied to me because she wanted me to be on a Paleolithic diet and avoid all temptations. She raised me with a lie, but she keeps insisting that I try to see her from her perspective. She spams my phone with messages about how healthy I am, that I never had acne, that I've been in great shape my whole life, that I have strong teeth and bones, and even that I got into a D1 college tennis team. She started calling me ungrateful for her intervention and insisting that I really should be glad that I never got carb addicted. I don't know what to think. I carried around an EpiPen for all of those years, one that I suspect may be fake as my mother never got me to replace it, and I don't even know anymore. Am I ungrateful for losing it over this? After finding out that my mom lied to me my whole life about my allergies, I cut off contact with her. Perhaps against my better judgment, I decided that I would reopen the line of communication with my mother. I decided that I wanted to have a relationship with her, but I also wanted her to see why what she did was so incredibly wrong. I told her I was willing to talk if A, she did not say anything until I had my say, B, didn't gaslight me into thinking what she was doing was right, and C, truly considered my perspective. She agreed instantly. We set up a video chat at that point and I started explaining my points. What if I had really accidentally taken one of those foods I was supposed to be allergic to, which is absurdly irresponsible of her? Did she ever stop to consider that I, sitting there at another kid's birthday party chewing down on an effing apple while the other kids ate cake might just make me feel out of place? This was inconsiderate. How could she have the nerve to suggest my hard work and having a goddamn tennis racket practically glued to my hand since I was 4 wasn't the reason why I'm such a great athlete, but rather it was because I didn't eat gluten? How could she have lied not only to me, but to our family as well? This was dishonest. Why didn't she just talk to me instead of raising me on a lie? This was underhanded. By the end of my rehearsed talk, my mother was straight up ugly crying. This was not exactly what I expected, but she apologized and said that she had been terrible. It was a huge leap from her previous response. She told me everything I said was right and asked if I would listen to her reason why she did so. Before I was born, my mother had a much older brother. I knew about him but never heard specifics on what happened to him. Apparently, he basically ate himself to death. He was so obese and food addicted that he was beyond help. He passed away when my mother was pregnant with me. They were close and it had a huge effect on her. She rationalized that lying would be better for me. When I brought up the fact that she didn't lie once, but for my entire life, she acknowledged that she truly had no excuse. This did not give me complete closure, but at least I got it. I'm talking to my parents again. My father also apologized, although he's tried to maintain that what he did was more of an accomplice who tried to talk her out of it. However, that's another fight for another day.
And this story time involves me and a friend, alright? Now this friend, I had been friends with her since I was 14. She was one of the most trustworthy people I had in my life. I really didn't think that I had any reason not to trust her. I mean, literally since we were 14, we knew like everything about each other and like never had a falling out, never had an argument. Like we were really good friends. But I'm sitting there in my room. It all starts off as a normal night. I'm hanging out with her in my room and I was complaining. I was like, yo, I have to go on this flight in a couple days. I have to travel. I was going to California for a month and I was super stressed out because I couldn't do my YouTube stuff like full time out there. Like I could still upload and stuff. I always uploaded, but it was hard to like maintain it. I couldn't check my comments. I couldn't reply to emails. I couldn't reply to tweets. I was always just really busy out there. She was like, well, if you need me to, like, I'll happily look after your emails and stuff and let you know what's important and what isn't and like, you know, forward everything that you need to look at to you and like, you know, kind of be your manager for the next few weeks. And I'll do it for free. Like, I don't mind doing it. You're a good friend. I'll help you out. And I was like, thank you so much. Like, that actually means a lot. And like I said, I trusted this girl like 100%. I had no doubt in my mind that she would do anything wrong to me whatsoever. So I trusted her. I gave her my password to my email, and I completely forgot that that email that I gave her was linked to my YouTube. So if you sign into that email, you could just sign into my YouTube channel. So I completely just forgot that, and I didn't realize it until I was in LA a week later, and I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? I don't even care. Like, I trust her. I'm not even gonna change my password. Like, she's not gonna do anything. We're already a week into this, and she hasn't done shit. I know that she's a trustworthy person. Like, I'm gonna be fine. So fast forward all the way through LA. The entire LA trip was completely normal. She actually did what she said she was gonna do. She forwarded me emails that were important. She sent me tweets receipts that were important, stuff like that. And she actually really helped out during this trip. So my trust for her just went even higher. I was like, wow, that's sick. So I came home, I get into my office room, I change all my passwords just because, like, even though I trusted her, I'm not going to let her have access to my email, my YouTube forever. I just needed help for those few weeks. So I changed my passwords, I go on my channel, make sure everything's all good. It was. I go through my emails, I saw that she was replying to people and stuff. She was just being a big help. And then later that night, I get a call from one of my friends. Now this friend of mine is always on the deep web. He loves the deep web. I don't know why. He doesn't even do anything on there except look through it. All he does is just look at it. So he calls me up and he's like, yo, I got something that you're going to want to see. I was like, what is it? And he calls me on FaceTime, flips the camera around on his computer monitor, and it's a forum on the deep web. And it says, Luna's password for sale, over 1 million subs, $3,000, proof linked below. And there's like a screenshot attached and there's literally my password blurred out, but she left the first 4 letters unblurred. So that's how I knew it was real and it was my actual password. And she also provided like text message proof that she knows me and just all this shit. Now I immediately knew that it was her because she provided those text message screenshots that literally showed our conversations, and they were conversations that I remembered having with her that I still had on my phone. So I knew it was her. So I immediately call her up and I'm like, hey, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, one of my good friends who was on the deep web earlier today saw what you posted. She goes, I'm not following. I'm like, yes, you are. I'm like, please don't try and lie your way out of this. Like, I saw the proof you provided. It was our conversation. I know it's you, and you're the only one that had my password. And she just kept trying to play dumb. She was like, Austin, I'm really not following. Like, are you okay? Like, are you tired from your flight or something? And I was like, all right, look, well, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna block you on everything. And also, I changed my password as soon as I got home. So the password that you're selling right now is useless. So go try and log in. So I hang up on her. I block her number. I then immediately change my number because I knew that she was gonna try and leak it for more money on that website. So yeah, I changed my number. I then text my friend, the one that showed me the post, and I thanked him. I was so thankful for that dude. Like, if he would have never sent me that, I would have never known how much of a fake friend she was. So yeah, I felt pretty betrayed. I knew her since I was 14, and I was just like, whatever, like, I guess it's time to move on from that friendship. And yeah, I changed my number. Everything was all good. She tried to contact me literally all week through other friends of ours. She would text other friends of mine, ask them to text me, and she was trying to ask them for my number and shit. And finally, after like 2 weeks of her denying it and acting stupid and texting my friends and asking for me to talk to her, I get an email and it's from her. And it goes, hey Austin, like, I'm just gonna lay it all out on the table. I'm really sorry. Like, what I did was wrong. I'm sorry for denying it this long. I just didn't want to lose you.
Am I the asshole for cutting my hair so my sister had a longer punishment? This technically happened around 7 years ago, but after newly revealed information, things are tense. Back when I was 17, my younger sister Ellie thought it would be a fun prank to cut my hair in my sleep. I'm a bit of a mover and active dreamer, so when I suddenly jolted, my sister panicked and ended up cutting off a much longer chunk than what she wanted. Out of instinct, my sister let out a scream, so I woke up and saw what she did. My parents woke up to me yelling at her and in turn yelled at her too. My mom took me to the hairdresser and I ended up going from having my hair halfway down my back to a pixie cut. As punishment, my sister had to use some of her savings to pay for my new hairstyle and then gave my sister a choice to either get a buzz cut or no phone and no social life until my hair got longer. Let me be clear when I say until my hair got longer. I don't mean that until it's back to its original length, but rather long enough so that growth was noticeable. My hair usually doesn't take too long to grow, so my sister chose the second punishment as she didn't want to lose her hair. That just made me all the more furious, so out of vengeance, I would give myself little trims at night in the bathroom every once in a while to make it seem like my hair wasn't growing. Eventually, my sister got tired of waiting and missed hanging out with her friends outside of school and asked for some other type of punishment. Our dad reminded her of her option, but it still had been months and my sister felt like it wasn't fair because she didn't intend to cut as much as she did and that she apologized and insisted that while my hair could grow back, she could never get back time that she missed enjoying her teen years. My sister would cry and pout but refused to shave her head to get back her privileges. Over time, I got over wanting revenge and just let my hair grow, and my sister was ecstatic to getting off the punishment. Years went by and we never spoke about it again until we had a conversation with our cousins talking about the worst thing we've done to our siblings. My sister brought up the haircut and I casually mentioned how I got back at her. I didn't think it was a big deal anymore, but my sister got upset and later texted me calling me an ass. So, am I the asshole?
This very well could end up on my main, but not until I'm unbanned, so like, first look? Anyways, this is the story of the first time I tried to donate blood and how horribly it went. So the high school I went to for junior year of high school had this thing where in the fall they would invite the Red Cross over and they would do a blood drive. And if you went to the blood drive, you got snacks and stuff, and you also got a pass to go to class late so that you could participate in the blood drive. And the blood drive happened to take place during one of my least favorite classes. So obviously I wanted part of it because I didn't want to go to that class. I'm also O positive. I'm one of the universal donors. So it's like, I feel like it's kind of my duty to donate, you know? So I go in, fill out the paperwork, they check my blood, they make sure that I'm not, like, nasty, and then they lead me over to a cot and lay me down. And then a nurse comes over, ties off my arm, and starts trying to find the vein in my elbow, with the ball squeezing and the tap-tap-tapping and the, whatnot. And after a few minutes, she finds it, marks it off with a marker, grabs the supplies, comes back over and goes, okay, I'm gonna count to 3, and then I'm gonna stick you, ready? And I go, I guess. And she goes, 1, 2, 3, and misses. And I'm sat there going, oh, 'cause she missed! Her response was, it's not working. I think I missed. Hold on. Pulls it out, sticks me again, and misses again. And then I guess she thought 3rd time's a charm, so she tried 1 more time, and failed 1 more time! Finally, after 3 failed attempts, she calls over another nurse who goes, yeah, no, this isn't gonna work. You obviously can't find it in this arm. And then asks me, do you want to use the other arm? And I go, no, you've already butchered that one. I don't want to risk the other one. That's my right hand. So they go, okay, and clamp off the tube to prepare it to be taken out. So they leave to go get the supplies to take out the needle and wrap my arm. And while they're gone, some bitch who looks like she could be an exhibit from Jurassic Park comes over and starts fucking with the needle in my arm. Evidently, the nurse had not missed the vein. She'd gone through it. So when Granny decided to pull the needle out just ever so slightly, blood started flowing into the tube. But there was nowhere for it to go because it had been clamped shut. So my arm just started swelling up with blood. So Granny in all of her fossilized glory decides the best course of action is to grip both sides of the tube and pull to try and get the clamp off. And I'm getting squeamish, so I turn my head away because I don't want to watch, and then suddenly my arm starts to feel rather warm, and I hear, don't look. So obviously I look, only to discover that the tube sprung a leak and my arm is covered in my own blood. Eventually the 2 nurses from before came back, reclamped the tube, took the needle out, and bandaged me and went, okay, how you feeling? Not great! Those motherfuckers gave me a juice box and sent me back to class. What?
Basically, I cut up this whole fucking watermelon, and I thought I was recording, telling y'all a story, but it wasn't even recording, bro. Like, oh my god. Basically, let me just give y'all the rundown while I finish cutting it up. Basically, I'm sick like a motherfucker, and I wanted to cut this watermelon, and I wanted to cut it like, that girl on TikTok that she be cutting her watermelon, and she be like telling y'all a little story. That's what I did, basically, but it wasn't recording. I'm finna just finish cutting this watermelon, and I'm gonna tell y'all the story again. The story is basically about how I got my revenge back of finding out my ex cheating on me for a whole year. So basically, like I said, we was dating for like a whole year, but this was middle school. This was in 8th grade. So, it was a big heartbreak for me, but at the same time, like, I'm totally over that shit. But yeah, so we was in middle school. We were dating for a whole year, and his homeboy basically told me that he was cheating on me for pretty much that whole year we were together. And so what happened next? Hold on. So, because it was a middle school relationship, I had like all of his jackets. I had like 3 hoodies and 2 zip-up jackets of his. And so that's, just a little side piece of the story. Basically, the breakup happened. I was on the phone with him, and I was like crying my eyes out, and I was like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, why did you do that? This and that, do my little thing, whatever. And he was just being a jerk, and he was just like, oh, are you gonna give my jackets back? Like, shut the fuck up. Are you gonna give my jackets back? I was like, I remember too, he had his fake sister. They weren't blood, they were fake sisters or fake siblings. And she texted me telling me, you need to be the bigger person and just give his jackets back. Like, jackets are expensive. This is not like, bitch, shut the fuck up. So I texted her back, like, all fake as fuck. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I'll give his jackets back. Like, this and that. And she was like, I understand what you're going through. Bitch, no the fuck you don't. And so one of his jackets was a windbreaker Hollister jacket. It was expensive as fuck. So I kept that one. I kept that expensive ass jacket, and I gave the rest of his jackets back. But the thing is, they never said how he wanted his jackets back. So I cut them bitches up, like, as I should. I basically cut up all of his hoodies, and like, I cut them bitches up. There was this like little unicorn stuffed animal he gave me for Valentine's Day. I cut that bitch up, and my mama drove me to his house, and I fucking dropped him off at on his porch. And I texted him, I was like, I'm sorry for, being hard, but I gave your jackets back, I remember he texted me after I left, and he was like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck do you mean? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you cheat on me for a whole year? Like, you wanted your jacket back. I gave your jackets back.